Welcome back, League Mates and listeners. We're your co-hosts, Dane and AJ. We are back with another Critique Corner episode where we're going to be diving into every Dynasty team in our league, and maybe you'll be learning some tips and tricks and trades and targets and who you should be selling, just moves that you should make, and maybe you can apply it to your own Dynasty teams.
Sure.
But in this episode, we're going to be diving into Ethan's team. We're kind of going in order of power rankings from our combined off-season power rankings video, and we did Austin last week. We're doing Ethan today, and he's the 11th seed team, so we're going to be diving right into that. Don't forget to sack that like button and subscribe button. Let's get stuck right into it.
So starting lineup, he's got Dak Prescott as QB1, Gibbs and Spears as RB1 and 2, Ja'Marr Chase, Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy as his 2 receivers and flex. Mark Andrews in the tight end slot, and Jaden Daniels at his super flex. On his bench, he's got the MILF Hunter in training, Zach Wilson, Bryce Young, Jamal Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Spiller, Malachi Corley, Keon Coleman, Alan Lazard, Gabe Davis, Tutu Atwell, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Hunter Henry. I feel like his team isn't that bad.
No, his team is not bad. In previous episode, or in the power ranking one, I think we both kind of hyped it up that we like his team. It's just he doesn't make as many moves is kind of why we just docked him power rankings and not always setting his lineup. But yeah, just some backstory. Like I said, he doesn't make the most moves, so a majority of his players he's just drafted himself. And I think like the most recent trade I remember was he traded Kenny Pickett away to draft Bryce Young in the draft.
Also traded me Alvin Kamara for my first this past year.
Right. And then he was able to draft Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman. I think he got Xavier Worthy with your pick, and then he got
at
Keon
12
Coleman in the second round. Yep. His first round pick, he got Jaden Daniels at 102 then.
Yep.
So he was in second to last place last year, and I personally wouldn't really consider this team a rebuild. Like, it's literally a running back 2 and maybe some flex options away from being a serious contender.
I think it's right there. Like, he could make this team a contender very easily. Like, Dak and Jaden Daniels, if Jaden Daniels does end up being a reasonable quarterback, is a perfectly fine quarterback duo. And then Amari Cooper and Ja'Marr Chase, that's a pretty solid 1-2 punch. At receiver, Mark Andrews obviously is Mark Andrews, and Jahmyr Gibbs is a beast. It's just a couple little flex holes in like the RB2, and I think he's right there. Also, I mean,
and he
Marquise
has all
Brown
of his picks too.
Yeah, and if Marquise Brown like hits on the Chiefs, it's a scary team for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how much he'll hit. I don't really have a lot of faith in Hollywood. I know.
Hey, but
I think you're a
he
bigger Hollywood person.
Xavier will.
Yeah, true. One of them, he's like one spot away and a running back away from having a really good lineup.
I think it's mostly what I'm worried about for him is the running backs, because if Tajay isn't really all that good, he doesn't have another running back that can play football, basically. No. So he needs to beef that up, and I think he could do that with some of his, like a Gabe Davis or like Marquise. Like if you don't need Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy, trade one of them, get a running back in return or something like that. That'd be my first thought.
Yes, and yeah, I would definitely lean towards running back because he does have Keon on his bench where maybe he turns into something too. He got Malachi Corley too. He could be something. Gabe Davis has like 1 or 2 or 3 spot start weeks, but that's pretty much it on his bench. Just let's start with the easy stuff. Droppable players. I would go with Isaiah Spiller.
Yep.
Drop.
Tutu, I think might be.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
I would drop him. Tutu, he did have a really hot start to last year. You know what else? You could get 3 more roster spots if you move some players to your taxi too. So
that's true.
I would be doing that and stockpiling up on some more players.
Yeah,
with
I agree.
That would be like the first move I would make for this team, and taking
100%.
some shots at some of those running backs, kind of the guys that we talked about with Austin's team that were available in that draft. Right now it's only AJ Dillon.
Yeah, AJ Dillon is someone that I think 100% should be on this specific roster. I think AJ Dillon should for sure be on Ethan's team.
And I would pick up like Kenny Gainwell too. Where
Justice Hill, I think, is a reasonable pickup too.
Yeah, like just get these RB2s where you don't need like a huge boom, but you need some sort of.
If something goes awry and you don't have an RB2, you need a playable person. So you need to pick, like Justice Hill, Kenny Gainwell, I guess. I'm not as high on that one, but AJ Dillon, I think for sure.
Take a shot on Cam Akers now that he's on the Texans? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not, but it's something.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, you got a couple droppable players. Definitely put some people on your taxi. Like, you'd have a lot of roster spots to just grab guys like that. I think the only true untouchables on this team at this current moment is like Jahmyr and probably Jahmyr Gibbs would be my thing. Maybe Jaden Daniels, but like we don't know what he is yet. So if you can tier up to like a known elite quarterback, it would be fine. But like I could see those 2 or 3 being like the untouchables almost.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't move Daniels because realistically his value would probably only be going up at this point. So I wouldn't. I guess that makes him an untouchable maybe. I wouldn't even necessarily think about tiering up to another tier of quarterback right away because he does have Bryce Young and Jaden Daniels where
that's true.
You can get someone in there, and the bigger need is that running back spot. So I would almost be looking more towards sending off probably a Hollywood. Maybe you down tier from Cooper.
No, I don't. Like what though? Let's do it. I'll just say Amari Cooper. Let's see if there's a down tier here. Not anyone that I'm interested in. Like, I think Cooper is his ironclad wide receiver too. Like, this is like, because we think he should try and compete here. I'm not trading away a competing piece like Amari Cooper if that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trading away like Marquise Brown, who's a little bit of a question mark. Gabe Davis, who's a bit of a question mark. You know, guys like that.
Yes.
Also, when you were talking about it, something I thought is Bryce Young would be someone I would be willing to trade personally. Yeah. I would be like, if I can tear down to some random QB3 or like random like no good QB, but like will give me a bye week if I need it, and like a running back,
like Daniel Jones,
like Daniel Jones, sure. Like,
because I've been wanting Bryce Young, Ethan.
Like, I would bet you 100% Luke, who I think is in a little bit more of a rebuild almost at this point, would do Baker and like a running back that he has, but I actually don't think he has any running backs, so maybe not.
No,
but like that type of deal where you go like
took
Baker.
That's what I think.
Yeah, like Baker or someone like that, like Matt Stafford. I think would be a tier down you could do because he's so old. Plus a running back, a lower tier running back, but like someone that you can plug in at RB2 would be something that I would look at for sure.
Yeah, Luke is dry on running backs. This just in, he is starting Damian Pierce, Kamani Patel.
Yeah, it's not.
And then
good.
he's got Tyron Tracy, Keaton Mitchell on the bench. Yikes.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here.
So then maybe he is
Daniel
just like,
Jones, J.K. Dobbins. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's one.
I would do that.
Yeah,
Send it my way.
I'm sure you would.
Hey, he's got an option to start another running back, and then he gets an upgrade at quarterback. What a steal!
I'm going to do it. I'm going to look at what he can get for his 25 first. I know it's a little early to do that, but just out of curiosity. Like, can he get a running back?
Whoa, if he got Josh Jacobs.
Rashad White, I don't think he'd get, but like James, like get two. If you get James Conner and Aaron Jones for a first, bro, sign me up if I'm Ethan. I would take that in a heartbeat.
And you know who has those two players? Sam, who is loaded on running back. Needs some younger, just needs picks and some younger players. So that is actually a very doable trade right there that I would be floating around.
Agreed.
For that, because I don't really know. I don't think Sam would really get anything else for that. Like after this year, he's probably not going to get.
They're both
shit
dead.
For it.
Yeah. Well, at least like value wise, they'll probably both still be playing, but.
Yeah, like he's not going to get as much for that, and like Sam doesn't need all of those running backs, so that sounds like a really good win-win right there. Yeah, wow, look at us. I need to see that go down.
Because then you get Aaron Jones, James Conner in. You probably drop Worthy or Brown and get both of those guys in instead of Spears. All of a sudden, you've got a team that people are looking at like, dude, I don't really want to play against this team. Yeah, like this team could beat anyone. So that's the type of thing that I think he needs to look at is maybe using a pick, maybe using a receiver like Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis, and getting an RB or two, and just like they can be old guys. They can be old guys who are going to get him points like Aaron Jones and James Conner. That's the type of guy I think he needs to look at because they're cheaper and they're going to score him points. And then I think this team could be scary.
Yes. And then I think the other route that he could go is like if this upcoming draft class is as deep at running back as it's kind of getting some hype around, maybe he is just like 1 year away from having like a really good team where he sits on some of these players, but then you're going to get probably a little bit less out of Cooper. Like you're kind of playing that time game at that point.
Yeah, I think you have to decide, right? Like, if you're like, I'm going to wait another year, that's when you say, okay, I'm going to, like maybe first 3 weeks of the year, he's not winning shit. He's 0-3, whatever it is. I'm selling Cooper immediately. He's off my team. I don't want him. I'd sell Gabe Davis off my team. I don't want him. And then you go from there. And then that's how you go about it.
Maybe if I see that Keon and Xavier are kind of putting in work early, then I would be more willing to trade some of my picks where I'm like, I don't really need to think about replacing some of my younger players later on with Cooper.
100%.
After like a year or two, I don't have to think about getting Cooper replaced because I have Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman.
Yep.
Then it would make a bunch of sense to get those running backs that we kind of talked about too.
I think if Xavier Worthy or Keon Coleman hit and like they're playable every week, that first round pick for those two guys that we mentioned is like a perfect deal for sure. Because then it's like you don't have to like your first round pick. It's fine. You got the young guy already in the back here. You don't need another one. You've got pretty young receivers already as it is. Like you don't need this pick if you are going to push for that title.
What do you think? What could he get for Tajay and Gabe Davis? Like if he just tried packaging Tajay with someone else to just upgrade Tajay.
Here's the thing though, is like
you're high on the Titans offense.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Tajay and Gabe Davis are both like do we really care about either of these people? Like they're both shit.
These are not real.
That's what I'm saying. Like look at this deal, by the way.
Yeah.
No way. Like I could maybe see a Mike Evans. Riley's pretty running back like needy, and Tajay's pretty young. So getting that would be nice, and then add Gabe Davis on as a kind of a replacement there. Not the worst thing in the world.
Would you do Javonte Williams?
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you take off the bottom two guys, maybe actually the bottom one or the middle. I don't think so. I don't.
No, that's why I said just Javonte.
Yeah, if it's just Javonte, I think that in theory I should do that. I don't think I would, and I don't think Ethan would do that either. Like I think Javonte I would plus
like
something.
Tajay and Javonte are pretty even. I guess.
So I'm just getting a free Gabe Davis. But if I could do a Mike Evans for those two, I might consider it. But that's only if I get those two other running backs. If I have someone that can play a running back already, because Tajay Spears is his too, and then he has nothing. So I'm not making that trade unless we've already gotten some other running backs. So yeah. I think my main goal, if I was this manager, I would be saying, how do I get one or two more people who score fantasy points? That's what, one for sure at running back. Definitely one at running back, and then one can be a flex of any kind. It could be a receiver, it could be a running back, whatever it is. If I can get those at a fairly decent price, like that first for those two guys, or like a second for one of them, something like that, I'm probably pulling the trigger on that and betting on my team winning this and not betting on a rebuild, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Ethan would be the type of person to also trade his rookie picks, where he doesn't have to do that much research in the offseason because he's pretty busy, and I don't know how tuned in he is to college football, but do that. What is this pick?
25-second. I hate all of these. These are way overpays. The second is going to overpay
Mr.
for
Irrelevant?
Sure. Yeah, overpay. The only one that maybe is Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, that would be nice.
What if I do a second and third? I'm curious.
None of those running backs were in the second round.
Demont, second and third, I'd do this trade, but I think he wouldn't do it because he has Tajay.
I would maybe trade Warren. I really don't need to be keeping
doing both.
Steelers running backs. But
yeah,
that was the critique corner. It was a pretty quick one. Another rebuild. We're gonna be
rebuild. We're rebuilding his team, not like he's rebuilding. We're telling him how he needs to rebuild it to win, not to rebuild to rebuild. I get what you're saying. For sure.
All right, well, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week for the Critique Corner, episode 3, where we're going to be diving into Luke's team next, the 10th seed in the power rankings right now. So stay tuned.
That could be a doozy.
Yeah, that one will have a lot more to talk about.
I think that's going to be a good one.
Could see some real advice go into place. I feel like Luke...
I agree. He'd be one to take it.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to support the channel by sacking that like button and sacking that subscribe button. We want to grow this community worldwide.
To the moon!
Maybe we even get a listener league going where we get some randoms in here. That could be pretty dope. So comment down below. Let's grow this community and help each other out. Good luck out there. We'll see you guys next time.